It's match day and we are live. Welcome to the All For United channel. If you're watching this on Twitter, make sure you come over and subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/All For United. And we're on Twitch as well, by the way. Just search All For United on Twitch and give us a follow. Right, we're live this morning. It's match day mornings. It's all about building up the hype for match day. And it's a big match day today. Matt, we'll come over to you. Actually, first of all, what am I doing? So rude of me. 8:30 on a Monday morning. These lads have given up their early time and they've decided to come on the stream with us. So let's do some intros. Kieran's just dropped out. I don't know what's happened there. But we've got Matt who's stateside. We've got Mark as well and Kieran who are rejoining in a second. Thank you for coming on, boys. Matt, we'll come over to you. Quarter-final morning. We've got a quarter-final to play later on.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I think for me, it's kind of odd. It doesn't really feel like a quarterfinal, but I think I don't know. I think I'm just excited to watch United play again. Hopefully the boys turn up and we smash them.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those, isn't it? Today, it's a bit of an unknown quantity, Mark. This because we played against Lask and the boys didn't put in the best performance, albeit a second team. Let's face it, who were looking very, very rusty. But FC Copenhagen, don't know much about them. So, are you expecting Ollie to just go all out today?
Yeah, I hope so. I think he should. I think obviously now he's probably had enough rest. All the first team have had enough rest. So I think he would be keen to get the first team out, which I think we need to see. I think everyone was very much aware of how poor we played against Lass the other day. So I think he needs to play his first team, and obviously he'll have a lot of rested legs now.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yes, Kieran, you're back. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It just didn't load up.
Your internet doesn't like the mornings as much as my eyes don't like the mornings.
Yeah, apparently.
By the way, if you're wondering why I start, if I start vigorously sweating, I'm not nervous. I don't know why I'd be nervous. It's so hot. I feel like I'm sat in an oven. It's so hot this morning in this room. But Kieran, let's come over to you. We've just spoken a little bit about whether Ollie's going to go for it today. We've spoken a little bit about it being a quarter final. The Europa League. Are you excited for this today? I mean, we've had a massive break from football, and we were all excited when obviously lockdown ended. But now it just seems like a continuous conveyor belt of fixtures, and it's just going on and it's going on, and the season's still not over for us. Are you excited for this tournament? Are you excited for the games tonight?
Yeah, I think so, because we went through whatever it was, 3 months of absolutely no football. So the more games for me, the better. Because it means you just get to watch your favorite team play all the time. Like, I would definitely much prefer us playing than having to watch just like the Champions League, where really there's not a lot of vested interest in there. So anytime there's a game on, I think it's the same as if it was when you have a preseason game. I'm used to getting up early to go and try and watch it when it's all the way in like America or China. So it's the same thing as here. It's just get to watch a game and it's a quarterfinal. So I always have to be happy to watch that.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but my cats are killing themselves whilst you're speaking. I don't quite know what that's all about. Thank you for watching, guys. If you're on right now, get in the live chat, get in the comments. Let's talk about FC Copenhagen, and let's talk a little bit about Ollie's presser yesterday as well. Matt, I don't know if you've seen, but some really eye-opening quotes from Ollie. 1 defeat in 23 games isn't good enough. That 1 defeat stands out. He also went on to speak about how this would be his best achievement in his career so far. This is from the guy who won literally with his boot the treble with that goal in the Champions League final. So in terms of how much Ollie wants this Europa League, you expect him to really do the boys up and get them going for this game tonight?
Yeah, definitely. I think as a manager, I think any type of opportunity to win silverware, regardless if it's Champions League, Europa League, or if it's the EFL Cup, you're going to go for it. And I think Ollie's the type of guy that doesn't really bother with the media and like what they say about him. But I think at the end of the day, I think he really wants to get his hand on that piece of silverware to kind of validate himself, then show all the critics that he deserves this job.
Yeah, and Mark, after the season we've had, if we get through tonight and we do get our hands on the Europa League, I mean, that's not a bad season, is it? 3rd place, Europa League?
I think it's, far more than anyone was expecting, really. I think to be 3rd, when we were 14 points or whatever it was back in Feb, is quite a miraculous thing. And if we can get a trophy as well, Europa League, and then that would be a great thing too. It's just a shame we didn't get obviously to the final with the FA Cup, really.
Yeah, and talking about that FA Cup team, Kieran, we spoke about it then, but he did rotate slightly. He didn't rest De Gea. He didn't play Romero. He played De Gea in that. Usually the Europa League's Romero's competition. Going into this game tonight, we've hit on slightly about rotation, but let's reflect it back on the last game we saw against Lask. Did anyone stake a claim? Would you expect to see Romero in goal tonight? Would you expect to see McTominay maybe anchoring the midfield? Dare I say, Mata or Lingard, players who have regularly featured in the Europa League. Are you expecting a full strength 11 tonight, like since lockdown, or are you expecting maybe a few changes here and there?
I think for the most part, it'll be a strong side. I think you might see Romero in goal. Possibly you could see McTominay play, but I think the way Solskjaer's been speaking, it sounds like he's going to go pretty strong for the next kind of 3 games. So I'd say, being realistic, the one change would probably be Romero in goal, because he hasn't done anything drastically wrong when we've played. So I think it's also to keep Romero happy as well, because the last thing you want is it coming into the summer, Henderson's kind of back and waiting to go on loan somewhere. De Gea has just been given all the games and Romero doesn't get enough. So I think he'll probably start. You might see it change if we get to the final, but I think for now you'll probably see Romero start. I don't think anyone else really staked a claim. I know Lingard played quite well, but I would be surprised if you're not seeing one of Pogba or Fernandes playing in this game.
Yeah, maybe Bruno. I mean, Bruno did start the first leg, didn't he, against Lask? Obviously, he's now had a couple of weeks rest. It'd be good to see him straight back in the team. Well, Matchday mornings, what we like to do, we like to hype up to Matchday, of course, but that wouldn't be possible if we don't have a look behind enemy lines. Unfortunately, we haven't got anyone here who's a massive FC Copenhagen fan, unfortunately. So I tasked the lads, just like they did against Lask, to find out just one fact. It can be a fun fact, it can be something funny, it can be something tactical, it can be something about their season or since lockdown. It's completely up to the lads in terms of what they find. So who do we go first? Let's go in order. Matt, what have you got for us on FC Copenhagen?
Oh, Ben, you're limiting me here. I actually found 3 for you, but just to be fair, I'll go with one.
Go on, throw them at us. Come on, hit us with some facts.
All right, well, after some research, I found they've won 3 of their last 3 in all comps, which is not too bad. Their last fixture was against the newly crowned Turkish champs, Istanbul Başakşehir. Sorry if I completely butchered that. But I think something that threw me off was back during the Danish Super League restart, they did this sort of 10-match round-robin tournament, and Copenhagen only went 3 victories out of 10, obviously losing, I think, 6 and then tying 1. So depending on what you want to take out of it, their form seems kind of lackluster, but at the same time, their Europa League draws, they put in some strong performances.
Yeah, I mean, let's also remember Başakşehir, they're not experienced in European competition at all, as well. So although it was a good win for Copenhagen, you're playing against a team there who have very limited experience in European football, which obviously does play a big part in these competitions. Obviously, with a one-legged tie, we're going to see some shock results potentially over the next few weeks in the Champions League and Europa League. So it's down to United to actually turn up and want this today. If United turn up and want this, then they can push Copenhagen aside pretty comfortably. But if we come out and just expect a win, then it's going to be one of those games. You can just see it. I hope I'm not taking this fact away from anyone, but we love getting people involved in the chat. Hello to H Mon's Money, who says, fun fact, their captain's a big United fan. Yeah, I saw that. Wasn't that on a press conference? Didn't he sit there on a press conference and go, I'm a massive Man United fan. Love that. He's good stuff, guys, as well. Thank you for joining us this morning. Hit subscribe on the YouTube channel and get your tweets in with your predicted 11s. We're going to come to that after Mark hits us with a great, big, juicy fact about FC Copenhagen.
So I found out last night that when Ole was getting his UEFA license, he actually did some work as an understudy under the Copenhagen manager, and they're actually very good friends and play together.
Yes, I saw that actually, that they're good. Because didn't they talk about it on the commentary after the last game that those two? And there's a picture of them both, arm in arm, basically being the best of buds. So they go Ole against his best mate. Who's going to get the upper hand on that? And Kieran, mate, pressure's on. Final fact from you, mate.
Yeah, again, kind of like what we were saying there. I've maybe 2 or 3 kind of important ones. The fact that during the past season, their top scorer was Dame Ndoye, who I think he scored like nine goals in terms of the last few games. But then last week, he couldn't agree to a contract extension, so he actually left. So their top scorer was gone. The other interesting thing is when you go through the games that they played in the Europa League, they tend to score very early in games. So one of the examples was in the group stage against Dynamo Kiev. They scored in the two games. They scored in the 5th minute, the 4th minute, and then also against Istanbul, they scored in the 4th minute again. So they seem to get up pretty quick, which I'd say we need to make sure that we're kind of on it from the start. And then the last thing is the player that has kind of gone in instead of Ndoye. Behind him, there's Jonas Wind, who actually at the start of their season scored 5 goals in 5 games, but then I think he got a really bad knee injury and missed the rest of their season. And he was the one that scored 2 goals against Istanbul last week as well. So just a few things to kind of note that I think at the start of the game and even the start of the second half, when you go through some of the times that they score, it's usually very early in half. So I think the lads will have to be kind of up and ready from the start.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting there you mentioned about Jonas Wind. Matt, I'll come back to you. Let's reflect on some of these points quickly. Jonas Wind is 20 years old. We also know that they've got the a right back who came through the United ranks, an old young player. I was going to say, it makes no sense. You can tell it's a Monday morning in Varela. So they've got some players in there who are going to be hungry. Their captain's a Manchester United fan. So are you expecting them to throw the kitchen sink at United today?
Yeah, I think just to go with Kieran's statement, like you see, like they score early on in the game. So I think they're going to be a team that's going to press high and then just launch their full-on attack in the first 5 minutes. So I think with the United, I think that kind of plays into our favor since we tend to do well against teams who like to attack, leaving them vulnerable in the back. So hopefully, if they decide to throw a kitchen sink at us, we throw Greenwood at them.
We throw a Greenwood at them. I love that. So we should get on a t-shirt. Mark, what about what Kieran was saying there, slightly what Matt was saying as well, about the fact that they like to get going early in games? We are very, very guilty of sitting back for the first 20 minutes and seeing what teams have got. And against Southampton, you saw we made a mistake early on, and we have done a couple of times since lockdown and conceded a goal in the first 20 minutes. And then we've had to fight back. Bournemouth is another example. So are you slightly aware of that? Do you think United have to kind of be careful today and hit the ground running straight from the off, hearing what Kieran and Matt have both just said?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think I'm always nervous these days for games. And yeah, we do seem to be a bit sloppy at the beginning. Hopefully that's not the case. I think Ollie probably would have mentioned this to them. Hopefully we're strong at the back, and I think it could play into our hands to be able to counter attack, and obviously as we've seen week in week out recently, our attack is brilliant, and hopefully we can get a goal or a couple from that. But we need to come out of the blocks. We need to be quick and strong and in control, and hopefully that will see us through.
Yeah, you said about our attack there. I can't not mention about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer basically confirming that he's part of Martial FC. In his press conference yesterday, some really big love in for Martial, which I absolutely loved. Martial's he's bulking up. He's trying to make him a bit more of a target man by the sounds of it. And I think over the next couple of years, we're really going to see the best of Anthony Martial under, hopefully, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Kieran, just ending off on FC Copenhagen. Sensible United, Man United Sense put up some great stats about teams before we play them. Said some information here on FC Copenhagen that we've not hit on. They usually play a 4-2-3-1. They came second in the Danish league, second in their Europa group. You sort of hit on this as well. They beat Celtic 4-2 in the round of 32. They beat Istanbul 3-1 in the round of 16, early goals assisting them. They are without some first team players tonight, and you hit a bit there on Jonas Wind too. So when it comes to FC Copenhagen, when we see the teams tonight, if they've gone 5 at the back or if they've changed things around, you've really got to think that they are altering their tactics and their team to sort of try and nullify United, aren't you? And potentially push the game, although they're used to starting quickly, maybe to the latter stages and maybe look at their luck on penalties.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of do what we've seen some of the smaller teams in the Premier League do. that they'll allow us to have possession and they'll sit in defense. Because the other thing that you see is a lot of the time they don't concede a lot of goals. When you look through some of their fixtures that they've lost, it's usually by 1 goal, 2 goals. They never tend to get beaten soundly. So my guess would be that they'll set up to have a strong defense. They'll probably, it's not going to be like where they're going to come at us 100 miles an hour from the first few minutes. I don't think. I think they'd be happy to allow United to have possession and make us try and break them down. I think if we score early, it could be an easy enough game where, because that means they'll have to come out of their defensive shape. But if the longer the game goes on and we haven't scored, I think the more dangerous the tie becomes.
Well, it's match day, guys. We're super buzzing for this. A lot of information on FC Copenhagen, and there's not, to be honest, listening back to that as any United fan, you'd be slightly wary. Of course you are when you start talking about the opposition and what they can do, but also we're Manchester United. We should overcome this today. So let's get excited. It's match day. Let's talk about the starting 11. Get your predictions in. If you haven't given a like on this video, like it. Hit the subscribe button on our channel as well. And make sure you turn on your notifications for some more great live shows, of course. Tomorrow, Usman will be back with breakdown and banter with the team, breaking down the performance and looking at the key moments. Hopefully, fingers crossed, after a victory, we hope anyway. Matt, let's come to you first. Starting 11 today. What are we going to do? Are we going to be bringing back the big boys?
Yeah, I think the only change I'm going to put is Romero in goal, and then you see the normal outfield 10 with Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right, Brandon Williams at left, Harry and Victor in the middle, Matic, Pogba, Bruno, the best midfield trio in the Europa League.
Matt said it here first. Matt, just can someone record that? Someone record it and put it out on Twitter. Someone record it.
And Marcus, Martial, and Greenwood.
Yeah. No, again, God, it makes you excited, doesn't it? At 10 to 9 in the morning when you know that could be the team that you're watching later on this evening. Let's just hope they turn up. Mark, what about you? Any changes to that?
No, I would pick exactly the same. My only worry with that is if we are trying to chase the game, as we've seen, we can't really bring anyone on to change the game. But what it also means is that if we are a couple of goals up, it might be a good opportunity to bring McTominay on, or perhaps a younger centre-back or whatever, Mengi. But yeah, hopefully we're not chasing at that point and we're 2 or 3 up. It would be nice.
Do you know what? I agree with you guys. I'd go for exactly that team. And the reason why I'd go for that team and potentially go with Romero over De Gea is we saw what happened when we brought De Gea in for the Chelsea game, when potentially Romero was going to play. Now, I'm not saying that goalkeepers can't make mistakes. Of course, goalkeepers are always going to make some mistakes here and there. Obviously, they get victimised for it when they do because it is going to cost a goal, right? Which 9 times out of 10 potentially leads to a defeat. So I would play Romero in goal today, actually. And that's not just to discredit De Gea as he's done at United. That's just because I think he's our cup goalkeeper. Let's keep it that way. But then I mentioned the other day as well with Jamie when I was talking to him. By the way, go and watch our transfer Q&A, Jamie Jackson. Loads of information on Jadon Sancho in there. Today is not deadline day. Let's just put it that way. Go and listen to Jamie Jackson on the All for United channel. But Kieran, I'll come over to you with this. Would you go with the same team? But also B, what about, we've got 5 substitutes. The lads have had a couple of weeks break. Potentially, we could rotate the goalkeepers at half time and there'd be no problem. And I know that's not normal in a competitive competition, but we could do it.
We could. I don't think it would happen because then usually when a goalkeeper gets substituted is when a manager has kind of lost faith in how they're playing. So I think that's probably that wouldn't happen. The 5 substitutions, I think, is important, especially for us. When we look at the two sides, we have a bigger squad depth than you would see in Copenhagen. When you look at kind of the starting 11, even though I'd say I would love to see where Romero was in goal, and then it's our normal kind of starting front 10 or starting 10 other than De Gea, but I can see him making maybe 1 or 2 alterations to that. You might see one of the forward, whether it's Greenwood, Martial or Rashford, probably come out, and you might see Lingard or Mata go in because they've played the last couple of games in the Europa League, and it seems that he wants to use it to allow some of the squad players kind of get up to the pace of the kind of first 11 that we saw. So I don't think it's going to be exactly our strongest, but for the most part it will. You'll probably see Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof and Williams. I think that's pretty set on, unless he doesn't want to start Wan-Bissaka, but I think it's an important one that he does. The other position I think that you might not be sure of, it's either Matic or I'd say McTominay as well.
On that, Kieran, sorry, because I've got a point on that and you can come back in. That's completely fine. At some point, I think we've got to play McTominay and put up with a couple of bad performances for him to get up to scratch and to get up to speed. Now, I'm not saying the Europa League's a tournament to do it because I want to win it. So I don't want to see players playing for the sake of playing them. I think we've got to play our best 11 with the players that we've got now. However, you would say that Matic has been slightly sluggish over the past 4 or 5 games. But again, that could be fatigue. I think a lot of United players have been since the Southampton game. So do you think potentially the Europa League or now's the time to go, right, Scott, here's 3 games. You're starting every single one of them. Lead us to Europa League final. Get some confidence, get some form in. Because at the start of next season, potentially you're going to be playing in that Matic position.
Yeah, I think it depends on what does Ole think of his correct position is going to be. Is it that defensive midfield position where Matic has played excellently towards the end of the season, or is it that he would be more of a backup for when the likes of Pogba and stuff needed a rest? Because I think the one issue with McTominay is just his positioning always seems to be off. He has to kind of work harder to try and get into the right positions instead of when you see Matic, he knows where he's supposed to be. Now, I think the only way he can get better at it is more game time. So it wouldn't surprise me if he started because, again, he's going to need time. He's still young. He still needs that kind of first team experience or starting experience with the first 11. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him in. I would probably start him in the game because if something went wrong, you can always take him off for Matic if you need a bit more stability. But I don't think there's any harm in starting McTominay and then just making his life simple is that he just needs to kind of play in the Matic role. Doesn't have to worry too much about going forward. I think the last game, he kind of thought he had to do it more because you don't have Bruno or Pogba with you. So you need more creation. So I think maybe with Bruno and Pogba playing in the same team, maybe it allows him to stay more defensive, and maybe it'll increase his kind of positioning.
He has also got a bit of flair about him, McTominay, so I don't blame him for wanting to get forward. Right, we're nearly done, guys. Get your score predictions in quickly. But just a final note on that, I do also think that playing that sort of defensive role, that central midfield defensive role in a 4-2-3-1 is so difficult positionally because technically you've got someone alongside you, but that person alongside you has been given freedom to go forward. So then you've not only got your area of the pitch to cover, you've got another area too. You see the likes of Kante and Ndidi, Partey, Ruben Neves, these amazing defensive midfielders flourishing and looking absolutely amazing. That's because they're right there in the centre of the pitch and they're told to cover that area. They're not playing in a 2. They've not got to cover someone else potentially when they've got to go forward. So you're going to have good games. You're going to have bad days in that role. But hey, that's another conversation for a different time. We'll get into that. But I do agree with you. Potentially like to see Scott McTominay tonight. I'm not going to lie. But I also want to see the strongest team who deserve to play tonight. And you can only go off of past performances with that. So it'd probably be Matic for me. Score predictions in. Ben Hodgson's gone for 4-1. I hope that's for United, Ben. I hope you're not a secret Copenhagen fan because that's a little bit sad if you are. But 4-1 United, I'd take that. Matt, come on, mate. Kick us off. What's the score going to be tonight and who do you expect to bag the goals?
I'll go 4-1.
Ben is stealing your prediction.
I'll go Marseille F.C. scoring 2 and then 1 each for the other 2 wingers.
Nice. Okay, so Greenwood and Rashford with a goal each as well. Mark, are you that confident?
Yes, I think. Just to point out, I wasn't not confident last time. I just didn't want to get too excited. So just to clear that up. But no, I think I said in my pre-match preview 3-1. And I think I'm hoping Martial, he's obviously in a lot of confidence at the moment, came off the bench and score. I think he'll get 2. And I'm hoping maybe either Bruno or Mason for the third. So 3-1 for me.
Nice. Go and check out Mark's pre-match preview online, by the way, at allpoolunited.com. It's really, really good. And Kieran, come on, are you as confident as the other lads?
Yeah, I think again it depends on how the game goes. I think early on, if we scored an early goal, it could be the likes of kind of 4-1. But I was thinking 3-1, but because Mark said it, I'll go with 3-0 and just be a little bit more confident in our defence. And I will go for, depending if he plays, a Greenwood hat-trick.
I'll tell you what, if our midfield have a bad performance today and we potentially lose or we suffer tonight, Matt is going to be a viral sensation online after some of the predictions and quotes he's come out with on the show today. But by the way, it is very late in America, so he's probably a little bit drowsy as well. So we'll give that to him too. Lads, thank you for getting up early. Thank you for staying up late, Matt. Really, really appreciate it. This is Matchday mornings. It's Matchday. It's a big day for United today. It's a quarter-final of the Europa League. It's a competition Ollie wants to win. It's hopefully a competition the lads want to win. It's a competition we want to win as fans. So all we've got to say is, come on, United. Let's get that win tonight. Make sure you subscribe and give the video a like. Thank you, lads. Take it easy.
You too.
Thank you very much.